So the brand new Shadowverse expansion, Storm over Rivayle, has been revealed. It's all the cowboys, all the Texas we were wanted. It's looking pretty sweet. In this video, we're going over things that I'd like to see in the expansion. Before we get there though, let's go over a couple just quick stuff. So the subathon was a huge success. Thank you to all the panda subs that, showed support. We unlocked the Louis Love emote you can see on Twitch, which is fantastic. Also, it looks like only about 50% of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you guys are not already subscribed, you should probably do that. Okay, in Storm over Rivayle, there's going to be a couple changes to the way the game works. So we're going to have a battle pass, which is going to replace the score rewards. We're still not sure exactly how it's going to work, but it looks like there's going to be like a free and a paid version, with the paid version giving you a bunch of goodies, including maybe potential leaders, Sears globes, all sorts of good stuff. I think the score rewards were a good system, but maybe it was outdated. It's been like 4 years, so I'm down to replace it with something that's potentially a lot better. We're also going to get the pre-release that's going to be happening, but this time around, pre-release you could buy with rupees, and you can use your card pack tickets, which is fantastic. One of the drawbacks of the pre-release in the past is that it really favored the whales, the people that want to spend cash, since you couldn't buy packs otherwise. So hopefully this way we can have a lot more people playing in the pre-release. I'll definitely be doing that when it happens on stream, so make sure you guys are ready for that. And we also have a brand new keyword maneuver. So now we have cards that are like horses, cars. Still not exactly sure how it works, but it seems like your followers could ride the cars, and then when the cars go away, the followers come back. Seeing the keyword looks cool. I welcome new keywords. It's hard to say how it's gonna play out, but if I had to guess, I would guess that Cygames is gonna make it be a powerful keyword. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. Lastly, we have Latika being announced as the first leader of the new expansion, which is great. Latika is one of the most popular characters, one that I personally love, and she has the LOL emote, which is fantastic. So I can't wait to see what Latika can do. Some great changes from Cygames. Really looking forward to an expansion. Let's go over some of my wishes, things that I'd like to see. Okay, first on my list is Ramp Dragon support. So, in the past couple expansions, Cygames put a lot of eggs in the discard basket, and Discard Dragon was a pretty popular deck. Before the new expansion, it even was tier 1, and while it may no longer be a tier 1 deck, it is definitely still playable. So I think it's fair to say that they succeeded. Discard wasn't like a one expansion thing. It took a long time for it to get there, and while I'm not opposed to there being maybe like 1 or 2 more discard cards in the future, I think we already played that and it was great, but Dragon is the class that I personally like the most, and I'd like to see something a little bit different for it. Before Ramp Dragon, we had Baldane just ruling over maybe 2 or 3 expansions ever since Burning Conflict, right? So, people really disliked Baldane, and for a long time that was Dragon. So I'd like to go back to our roots, and maybe can we see some Ramp Dragon support? I want to say the last time Ramp Dragon was like a real deck was back when maybe Alter Sphere you could play Prince of Cocytus, and he was pretty good. Some people disliked him too, obviously, but it's been a long time. If we can't keep supporting Natura, Machinas are gone, and this card already works, then what is the next step for Dragon? Maybe with a new keyword we can get dinosaurs to ride or something, but I'd like to see just more ramp. We have Dragon Oracle, it's always gonna be there, so give me something to ramp into. In the last expansion we have Urns as the legendary, and while it's a big 10-drop dragon, it's not something you want to ramp into, not at all. So give me I don't know, just something hype to ramp into, maybe some good ramp tools. I'd like to see Ramp Dragon make a sweet comeback. Next on my list is power creep for the meme decks. This is something that I've thought about a lot. So, everybody knows power creep is a thing. It happens. Whenever there's a new expansion, they have to sell it. And the easiest way to do that is to make the new expansion be really good. Now, with things like rotation, 2 separate formats, and the actual rotation of the expansions, power creep could be sort of avoided or mitigated, so it's not such a big deal. Sometimes we get sets that aren't particularly strong, and it can, bring down the power level of the game. However, power creep is still a thing, and one of the things that I think is a bit of a problem in the game is that while Cygames is really good at pushing what is going to be tier 1, sometimes the other decks are kind of left in the dust. So an example that I always like to bring up is the Limaga deck. So Limaga came out in Ultimate Colosseum, and it was never going to be a tier 1 deck, but it was like a nice playable tier 2, tier 3 meme deck, if you will. And in that expansion, when it came out, it was good enough to see play. Good enough that I personally climbed to Grandmaster with it. And I really enjoyed the deck. I had a ton of fun with it. Now, from then on, the new expansion comes out, and the decks that have to be meta are stronger and stronger so they can combat the meta decks of Ultimate Coliseum, right? But what happens is that the meme decks don't get support at all. We get maybe one more card to support Limaga. So a deck that was once, playable enough for me to get Grandmaster with it, then becomes like unplayable because now it's going up against even more powerful decks. And then this happens the next expansion too, and then the next one too. So what happens is that the Limaga comes out, and this is the meme deck they created, and it's there for, like 5 expansions, which is over a year, but we can really only use it for the first 3 months. After that, it just gets completely blown out. If you try and play like an actual Limaga deck in today's meta, like you will get destroyed. You will stand no chance. And I'm not saying, they need to keep supporting it every single expansion or anything like that. It's just that it seems like as the game continues, there is a bigger gap between what the top tier decks are compared to, stuff that is not top tier, the quote unquote meme decks that people like me like to play. So I understand not everything can be top tier, not everything should be top tier. I just want there to be a little bit more variety in the wacky decks that we could play. While, it takes a lot of cards to support a tier 1 deck, and that's often where the expansion goes. Every once in a while we get meme decks, things like Showdown. That's a good meme deck, except Showdown is terrible, right? So, I enjoy playing Shadowverse meta games, but just make it so it's a little bit easier to play the meme decks. I would appreciate that. Maybe Storm or Rivayle could be a good expansion for Cygames to do that. Alright, my last point kind of goes hand in hand with the thing we just talked about. So as I want to see, more variety in decks you could play, what that primarily means is that I want to see more variety in the classes. Now, Runecraft might be everybody's favorite class, and for all the things that Runecraft does, poorly or well, depending on who you ask, one thing that Runecraft does very, very well is that they have a lot of class variety. So when you're playing ladder and you queue into Runecraft, you have to ask yourself, hey, is this Carol Rune? Is this Spell Boost? Is this Shop? That's 3 different rune decks that you can go up against that function. They all work, right? Some of them might even be tier 1, right? So the idea is that a lot of times the classes end up only doing one thing well, and everything else that they could do just ends up not working out at all, right? So for example, you have classes like Blood, that it's like before it was you only go against Control Blood, and now today you only go up against Ball Blood. So I'd like to see classes do more than one thing. Like I was saying, a lot of times it takes a lot of cards to make a deck function enough to be playable, and because the expansions don't have that many cards for each individual class, oftentimes you only get like one deck out of a class, which is fun. Sometimes classes don't even have a single playable deck, which is a struggle, right? So the first step is that every class gets like at least a playable deck, but ideally, in a perfect world, every class could have 2 or 3 different decks, such that if you queue in ladder and you see the class, you would be like, hey, is this Discard Dragon? Is this Ramp Dragon? Is this Whale Dragon? I feel like the more variety that's in the game, naturally the more fun that it would be. And to be fair, like the Rune example, I think they are getting better at this, but I'd like to see it go a step further, sort of, give us more variety. And if that means that the variety is some of the meme decks that are a bit more playable, then I'm all for that. But overall, Storm or Rivayle looks like a really cool expansion. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be reviewing the cards on my Twitch stream, which we always stream Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. East. So you guys are interested, check that out. If you want to see the reviews on YouTube, let me know. I'm not sure if people are interested in that, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I look forward to the expansion. Thank you guys so much for watching.